Yeah,
I'm
there
here.
you are. Okay,
Okay.
great. Listen, thanks so much for coming out on our first volume of the Recon Mike Show. We're putting the spotlight on Westchester a little bit with you and one of your neighbors talking about the park. You've lived there for a few years, I understand.
I've been in Westchester for 23 years now.
Right. And were you involved with their police force too, or was that?
I spent 20 years with LAPD. Yep. And then I retired. And I've been retired now for 28 years, but I've still been working with policemen for the last 28 years.
In a different capacity. So,
Yeah.
so because so much in these last months, we see the equation being made between homelessness and crime, given the nature of some of the people that are on our streets. I mean, one of the things we have learned, and all of us know, is not every homeless person has the same story.
Right.
But certainly some of them there are drug addicted and are being preyed upon and prey upon others. It's a vicious cycle. You know something about drug addiction too, don't you, my friend?
Yeah. When I started on the police department, I went undercover in the high schools. I was with the first group to go undercover as a high school student. 21 Jump Street actually came out of our first group that came out of there. And then I went to the DARE program shortly after that. So I've spent 17 of my 20 years working with youth in law enforcement.
And DARE stood for DARE
Drug abuse resistance education.
Right. And did you and certainly when you were starting with that, one of the drugs you probably would have never have even considered talking about was fentanyl, because it wasn't even there. Now I understand that's a major street drug around our homeless communities. Do you hear the same thing?
Fentanyl and meth, the two big drugs, are easy to get a hold of, and they're all involved with that.
So we have 15 council districts. Does that mean that's how it is in all 15, or just us here in CD 11?
Well, I was down at the down at police headquarters downtown, and they're just camped out there. There's tents everywhere surrounding the police academy. You're looking at a picture right now of our police academy, which is on the left side there, that building. And if you look down the street, you'll see a whole bunch of motorhomes parked there. Most of them will not run, but they continue to have them on the street. In fact, as I passed by to take a couple pictures yesterday, they were out there playing basketball and waving at me, knowing that I could do nothing about the fact that they were living there. And they've been there for over a year. And they're also repairing automobiles as they do there. They've been doing that for quite some time. So it's a whole community on the street where, the other thing I didn't mention to you, when I talked to the senior lead officer over West LA, he said he had to call waste management to have them come up and pick up the trash that these people leave on their sidewalks. So they're just, God, you and I both know we pay for trash pickup, we pay for everything, and the city allows them to have all of that handed to them.
Oh, so you've seen a great deal more, trash and filth on your streets because of these RVs? They just throw them out?
Yeah, they put them in bags, or sometimes they're just laying there. But what's interesting on these RVs, there is an ADA restriction that 1/3 of the sidewalk must be left open for pedestrians. Now, these people who live in these homes, they pull all their stuff out of the sidewalk at night and put them in the trailers. In the morning, they just load them out there, and their chairs, their barbecues, everything are out on the sidewalk, blocking the whole sidewalk. So they're just ignoring the ADA restrictions as well.
Do you have how do you see the problem changing? How do you see it? Do they have create some designated areas for people to park their vehicles?
I think that's where our community leaders are failing us, because they don't do anything about it. They just turn their head and they think, it'll just go away. It's not going away because of our open policy as far as homeless people here in California. According to a law enforcement person I spoke to, 50% of these homeless people are coming from out of state now. So it just gets more and more crowded because, as you and I both know, Chuck, this is the best weather in all of the United States, and they're taking advantage of it for free.
Yeah. Well, maybe you said 50%. I know here in Venice, we get 75, 80%
From out of state.
from out of state. That's what I've been told
Yeah.
and confirmed by a few different people.
Yeah.
We've also been told something that I don't think is in news article really good by our friend Chris LeGray, who was writing for the All Aspect Report, that when they were clearing out Oceanfront Walk, many of the people who were told they had to leave ended up at Westchester Park.
Well, yeah, we have a problem with Mr. Bonin. He, I think he's just turning a blind eye. He says, he said to us, if you have a better solution, you tell me. Well, I think there was some area that they could move some of the homeless people to where it was out of the way. I mean, we can't end the problem, but we can certainly control the problem and put it in an area where they can be, I don't know, fed, cared after, even given some security. I noticed in Long Beach, and I was kind of impressed. Somebody had donated an old parking lot that wasn't being used. They fenced it. They let the people come in and put their tents up. They had a security guard there, and it was a safe location for them to live, and it was out of the way. So they didn't have beachfront property or lakefront property or next to the barbecue at the parks. They had a place where they could live safely with their tents, with their own property, and it seemed like a reasonable solution to me.
Well, unfortunately, Long Beach is not in the 11th Council District of Los Angeles, but it does to me too. Well, listen, Scott, thank you so much for taking some time today and coming on. And any issues, anything that you find out going on or anything you want to share, whether about actually gathering petitions or just issues all around you, you're always welcome on the Recall Mike Show.
Appreciate that, Chuck. And we do have petitions going around right now to recall Bonin. And I must tell you, I read the petition. I know it was presented to the city clerk, and it made a lot of sense. And then I read Bonin's response to it, which he said that some attorney in Orange County is starting this whole thing, which is an absolute lie. In fact, most of the people that I've talked to voted for Bonin, and they're very liberal, or and they just need him out because he's not doing the job that he promised us.
He just is not. One of the things about, I say this to all the guests that we have on, and this is just that the point of the Recall Mike Show is to begin to change this city, to try to make it post-partisan. I really don't care when it comes to matters pertaining to our city governance what your political orientation is. What I do care about is, can you get the jobs done? Can you take care of the constituents? And can you care about us?
Right.
The lives that we lead, those who have, like ourselves, who've been around the block a few times, and the children who are coming up. Someone's got to take care of us.
Yeah, you're right. This is not a political decision. This is a decision for someone to get the job done.